Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us.
Chad Robichaux is our guest today, and especially with the movie American Sniper, I think it's brought to the attention the problems that people who've been in the military have had once they come back to the United States. It's not the first time that we've been aware of this, but I think it's just heightened that awareness. And he's the author of a book called Redeployed, and he's a returning Special Ops Marine and now the director of Mighty Oaks Warriors. Boy, we have a lot of stuff to talk about in just a few minutes, Chad. Thanks for joining us by the side of the road in your pickup.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Where are you on your way to?
We were coming from Southern California, where we mostly work with the Marines here on the West Coast, and just heading back home.
I see. Would that be like Camp Pendleton in Southern California? That's right.
That's right. And we're heading back to Central Coast, California, where we have this week we have a group of Marines coming in to do our next veteran session.
Okay, now is that at Mighty Oaks Warriors, that particular facility? Is that right?
That's right. We use a ranch called Skyrose Ranch, and we get we do 1 to 2 groups a month, and we hold a maximum of 35 guys there, and we're max capacity each time. So we'll have on Sunday we'll have 35 guys. Of those will be 20 brand new students coming through the program. Now, primarily veterans of PTSD.
Okay, I was going to ask you about that. So these are not just veterans, but they also have post-traumatic stress disorder. Is that right? Like a clinical diagnosis of that?
That's right. They're coming with it. Most of them, I'd say over 90% of them will have a clinical diagnosis of PTSD. A large majority of them are not veterans, but are on active duty with the military still, and we get them on permissive TAD orders from the Marine Corps and the Navy. And so most of our guys are coming in on official military orders as a non-clinical solution, which I think is really important to state that when it deals with PTSD and suicide, one of the things that we pride ourselves on is we're non-clinical approach to therapy.
All right, and I want to ask you a little bit more about that. You know, one of the numbers that I've been amazed at that I've seen recently is the estimate when you look at how many people have died of suicide. More than 20 veterans per day commit suicide. That's a hard number to kind of wrap your head around. And I guess what you're trying to do is make sure, of course, that number doesn't happen while you work with these veterans. What, if you can summarize it, what is it you do?
Well, I think we have a very unique methodology. We didn't realize it at the time, but looking backwards at what we do, we're definitely very unique and very different in our approach. We feel like we have beaten the war on suicide through our methodology, with the fact that we've had 650 very high risk combat veterans come through our program, and we've had 0 suicides of any of our alumni. And the methodology, and by the way, our programs we have initial contact of 6 days. Many clinical treatment programs, you're talking 6-month inpatient or just ongoing daily or weekly therapy, where we're bringing the guys to a decision point in a period of 6 days, very intensive 6 days, in a peer-based contrast model. And when I say a contrast model, basically what we're doing is we're giving them a blueprint of life. In particular cases, because our programs are gender specific, we give them a blueprint of manhood and contrast that to their life. And what they realize in dealing with PTSD is that although they may have had a significant incident or trauma in Iraq or Afghanistan, that isn't the reason for the things that are happening in their life, the choices they're making every day, and bring them to the conclusion and the choice and the realization that the things that are happening in their life are based on the choices they make every day, not some incident that happened in the past, and showing them that they do have control of their life again, that they are still capable of continuing to fight for the hard things in their life, and giving them back control. And in doing that, we found that while the memories and the things that are associated with PTSD may not go away, they become manageable, and the guys could sustain life and actually be productive moving forward. And by the way, and I know it's a Christian show, the model and methodology we use is a Christian blueprint of manhood. By design, we show them how they were designed to live.
Well, that is really That is really an amazing record that you've had, 650 you were mentioning, in such a brief period of time. How did you come up with this plan, anyway?
Well, I was the first case study because I came home a train wreck, and then wrecked my family and my life, and through the redemption and recovery of that, I was walked through this same model by a mentor named Steve Toth. He stepped into my life and mentored me, and all the things that I tried to do to put my life back together, he guided me through by showing me this blueprint of manhood. And what I found, all the pills that I was given before, all the counseling, all the things that I tried before, while it didn't work, this new concept of just living by design put me on a platform and a position to rebuild my life. And then getting on the other side of that, I realized that I wasn't the only one. There were so many veterans like me struggling, obviously with 23 suicides a day, with an 80 to 90% divorce rate and amongst our combat veterans, that I wasn't the only one, and realized that, man, this would work for me. I have to share with the next guy. And that's really what our program is when they get there, they think they're coming for help, but we tell them right away, like, you think you came here for help, but what you really came here for is to get well so you could help the next guy. And it's a peer-to-peer model. We don't claim to be clinical. We want to be an alternative solution to clinical help. While clinical help is necessary, and psychologists are a necessary part of the solution, we just want to be an alternative to that. And what we've been is a very successful alternative, and we've gained the trust of the United States Marine Corps and the military, and the U.S. Navy, and now moving into some really strong relationships with the Army, and just implementing a different solution. That solution is coming in line with exactly the life that Christ has laid out for us to live.
Oh, that is amazing. Let me ask you.
The guys don't have to be, the guys that come, not all of them are Christians. We have atheists, Buddhists, you name it, that come. We do it in a way that's it's real opening to people that have different beliefs than us, but they just have to trust us to present this model to them.
Now you're dealing, of course, with the actual soldier who's coming back. Do you also deal with the family at all? I mean, it's only 6 days, so that's pretty intense, but I would imagine that they're trying to understand how is Dad different now that he's come back and all the rest. Do you work with them at all?
Yeah, that's a great question, because that's exactly what happens. The guys come home and they make these radical choices in only 6 days, and they come home. So we teach them how to implement that and make it sustainable and actually something that the family will accept. And then part of that process is they come for 6 days, but they come back at least 4 times is what we look for. Because again, we want to teach them how to pass it on, to their family, how to pass it on to the next guy, and we start employing them to be instructors to empower them to do exactly what we're doing. And so we're replicating ourselves through that process. In addition to having them do that, we bring the spouses. We have a spouse-specific program, which is gender-specific as well. So we have a female program, which is all the spouses of the graduates. And then once they come through that, then we bring them through a marriage advance, which is an advanced training where we give them that blueprint, blueprint of the covenant marriage, and work on the entire family.
Before we get too far, I want to mention to our viewers and listeners that we're talking to Chad Robichaux, and he has done several things. Not only was he a Special Ops Marine, but he's co-author of the book Redeployed and director of Mighty Oaks Warriors. Is there a website people can go to find out more of what we've been talking about?
Yeah, it's mightyoaksprograms.org. And if any veterans that want to register, the program's completely free. It's free to veterans, free to the military, and all you have to do is get on the website, register, and we even cover travel in many cases.
Okay, how do they work to get to know who you are and find your website? Have they been in civilian life for a while and have these problems, and then somebody refers them? Is that how that happens?
Well, we have a pretty wide, a pretty broad spectrum of the folks that we bring in. Many of them are veterans who have been out. I do public speaking in churches. I do a lot of public speaking in churches. So those churches that I speak at, now the pastor has a resource and platform to help the veteran community. So oftentimes when guys become in crisis of suicide suicide or divorce, a lot of times they reach out to the local church. So that's one way to reach the veterans. Other veteran organizations know about us now because we've been around for a while and have a track record of success. But primarily, our target is the active duty military. So we have relationships with the Wounded Warrior Battalions for the Marine Corps, the Warrior Transition Units for the Army, and in the Navy we've established relationships with the chaplaincy and the hospitals.
I see. So
they're our direct pipeline to the active duty military. While we love serving the veteran community that are already out, and we do, I'd say it's about 50-50 between active and guys that are out. We, as an organization, if we could catch the guys before they get out, if we catch them while they're still in the units, then I feel like we could be much more successful. Reason being, and talking about suicide statistics, is we have 23 suicides a day in our veterans who are out of the military. While they're still in active duty, it's only one a day, a little over one a day. And so that kind of shows the pattern. If we could grab them before they get out, before they get in a desperate situation where they feel alone, where they start failing and falling on their face, because civilian life hits them in the face and they're just not able to reacclimate, we have a much higher rate of success in battling suicide.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, are there many programs like yours, or is yours pretty unique?
I wish I could say there was a ton of others like ours, but really there's not. And I really feel like we're the only ones doing what we're doing and the way we're doing it, utilizing this methodology and having the track record of success we have. I don't say that as being boasting or being overly proud of what we do. I am proud of what we do, but what our real goal is to replicate what we're doing. So we're packaging SOPs and standard operating procedures, and we're looking to expand and partner with other organizations to, instead of reinventing the wheel, finding partners that have hearts and want to help veterans, and giving them something that's working, and not only working but vet it with the military and trust it by the military. So we're part of our expansion plan in 2015 is to have 10 new partners to replicate exactly what we're doing, and we're moving that way with not just with speed, with some very clear goals and maintaining the quality and integrity of what we do.
Well, thanks for stopping by. I want to let people know we've been talking to Chad Robichaux. He's co-authored the book Redeployed. We didn't even have time to talk about that, but you might want to look that up. He's a Special Ops Marine who has returned and is now director of Mighty Oaks Warriors. And let me get this right, Chad. It's mightyoaksprograms.org that people can get information, right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.